welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are so excited to be here today to bring you another interview. And I'm filmmaker Rachel Wagner, and today we are talking with Clare Filipow. And Clare, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's nice to talk to someone other than my houseplants these days.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice when we can use Zoom to pretend to interact with other humans.
Yeah, like I feel like we're in the same room right now.
Yeah, it's good. So we're so excited to get a chance to talk with you. And why don't you start out, introduce yourself to our listeners, and tell us what inspired you to get into acting, to become an actress?
Well, hello, everyone. I feel like I've always wanted to be an actor, which I know is such a cliche thing. I did every school play I was able to do. My parents put me in every theater camp. Like my sister did all of the Girl Guides and gymnastics and figure skating. And for me, it was just put her in a theater camp. So I did a lot of that. And then I remember trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I was in high school. And I was like, maybe I should be a lawyer. Maybe I should be a doctor. And I remember at one point being like, oh, I just want to play a lawyer. I don't actually want to have to do all that reading, or I just want to play a doctor. I don't actually want to have to do medical school. So
you're like, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. There's a lot of work involved. Little did I know how much work acting would be too. But so then I actually did a science degree at university. I was able to be like, you know what, acting's a good hobby. I'll get a good degree in chemistry. And I always did improv the whole time through. And then after I was done university, I was just I got my dream job out of university. And I just thought, this happened too fast. Like I can foresee the rest of my life. So I'll put that on hold. I can be a chemist whenever I need to be. And I decided to actually pursue acting and haven't looked back since.
Did you drive all your friends crazy trying to get them to come to your improv?
Oh, yes, 100%. Yeah. I'm that person. I'm pretty sure all my friends have blocked me on Facebook. They had the amount of haircuts my friends have had at night. I'm like, wow, you can't come because you have another haircut?
Yeah. Because improv, when it's not great, is rough.
Oh, it is wonderfully the worst. Like nothing is worse than a bad improv because no one wants to be there. Even the people doing the improv don't want to be there at that moment. But everyone's like playing chicken with each other to be like, who's gonna walk out first? Is it gonna be the audience? Is it gonna be the performers?
So did you do plays and stuff like that in high school?
Yeah, I did. Any play, one act plays. I remember doing like Footloose and Anything Goes was one. Basically anything I could do. I just gravitated towards theater and any extra work. Like I don't like to wake up. Even us meeting at the ripe old time of 10 a.m. I was like, oh my God. But I would wake up and do theater where I would go to school before school started. So at like 6:30, I'm waking up and I would go and rehearse one act before we even started classes. Like for some reason, when it came to acting, I'll make time for it.
Yeah. Do you sing? Do you do musicals?
Not at all.
Not at all.
I wish. I sing to my houseplants. No, but I love it. Like I'm the biggest musical theater nerd. I have all the show tunes memorized. I have an incredible memory for that stuff. I just don't have the vocal talent.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I'm an okay singer. I am the worst dancer. I'm terrible. And so that always was my Achilles heel when it came to.
If you could have been in any musical, what musical was yours?
Les Mis would have definitely, especially in high school.
Oh, that's like a full-on opera too. So you go full for it, Rachel.
I'm not saying I would have been the best, but that would have definitely been my choice. And I'm really actually very, very excited because I get to see Les Mis here locally. There's a production that is going to be my first time back to live theater next Wednesday. Wow. I am so excited because I love Les Mis. I am a huge, I don't know what they call Les Mis nuts, but I am one of them.
Jean Valjeanite.
Yeah, that's right. Team Javert. I don't know if that's a thing, but
yeah, I
The Little Mermaid was the show that it was the movie that really inspired me as a child, and then it was Les Mis in high school was my big thing.
What's your thing?
We did the Wiz in my high school, and that was really fun.
Oh, fun!
Yeah, very white version of the Wiz, but it was fun.
You tried.
Yeah, we did. We tried. But so we've had this last year, this crazy, insane year. And so what was that all like for you? Did you do any quarantine baking or
I mean, we went pretty quarantine crazy. So I was working up until like the night before Canada shut down because I'm in Vancouver. So I had like work just was like, nope, shows are done. We're pulling it. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is a real thing. So it was kind of, I mean, it's weird to say that it was kind of nice at first, but there was no one was missing out on anything. I kind of felt like I was back in high school before your parents made you get a summer job where there was just nothing to do. So you would just like wander from house to house and see friends. And it was springtime in Vancouver, so the cherry blossoms were out. And I don't think I've ever had time to actually walk around and enjoy it because you're always like, I got to get to this work or job. And then, yeah, definitely went a little stir crazy. Did lots of started by doing yoga and then just was like, what's more fun than yoga? Nutella banana bread. So did that. Lots delicious. Of kind of, yeah, it's very good. I'll send you the recipe.
Yes, do. Did you binge anything good?
Binged so much stuff. Like all I did was watch TV. I love any kind of TV. So we we got all of the streaming services and just kind of rotate through them all.
It kind of saved 2020. I'm normally a movie person, not a television person, but there was just something about having those shows that you could binge that was so nice in 2020.
Totally. Shows I've even watched before, just anything to kind of be like, what are we going to do tonight? Watch 17 hours of TV.
That's right. If I'm watching Bridgerton, I'm watching... I love McMillions. That was one of my favorites. There were so many good shows. So many. Well, very good. We made it through. We're very proud. We're very proud.
I ended up working a lot. It was so crazy. I think there was about 4 months off, and then film and TV started up. And it's just been so busy since then.
What was your first project back?
My first project back was 12 Dates of Christmas.
Okay. Yeah.
On the 12th date of Christmas. They changed the title halfway through and we all forgot it. So that was, but I got that was in Winnipeg. We shot that, which is like 2 provinces over.
Okay.
And I had to, so they flew, it was like one of those things you book it, 3 days later you're on a plane, and I had to pack for the month because I had to quarantine for 2 weeks in the apartment before I was even allowed out. So it was really weird. It was really fun though. It was like, oh, you want to work again? Here, go away for a full month.
Yeah. Where were you quarantined? Were you just in like a hotel or?
Just in the residence they put us up in. They had a rule opening up in Winnipeg or in Manitoba that if you were coming from a place with more, because it's still in Canada, so I didn't think I'd have to quarantine. But they had so few cases there at the time that they were like, anyone coming from outside. So there was 4 of us, the 2 leads, and like Mallory and Tyler, and then myself and Ian Collins were the 4 that were quarantining.
Yeah.
So it was a lot, but it was fun. I mean,
did you get to see them at all, or were you literally just you in the room the whole time?
It was just me in the room for 2 weeks. Wasn't even allowed to go outside for a walk, which I mean, a lot of people have been quarantined, so I get it. It really does test you. But once we were out, it was fun. I mean, Mallory and Tyler were working all the time, but Ian and I, we just like tore up Winnipeg. We had so much fun. We would just hang out, just go for walks. It's like 37 degrees Celsius, which I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but we're sweating and then they always film Christmas movies in the summer, and they put you in winter jackets and you're just pouring sweat off your face.
Yeah. You're like, I'm tearing up Winnipeg social distance style.
Exactly. Yeah. With our masks on.
Very good.
So yeah, that was the first one I did back. Was that.
That seems like it would be a fun one. You were his sister in that one, right?
I was his sister. Yes.
Yeah. That was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
It was, yeah, we had a lot of fun doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was cute. Because I was a little bit nervous because they had done Christmas Scavenger Hunt the year before, which I actually enjoyed very much. Mm-hmm. But it was a terrible scavenger hunt. It was the worst.
Right.
And so I was like, is this going to be a good scavenger hunt? But it actually was pretty solid, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I was jealous that my character didn't get to do any of the scavenging. Like, I didn't get to go skating, which was fun. And I was like, okay, I can do that. But
yeah. Well, so do you remember the very first role you ever got?
Yes, I do. It was on Supernatural. Mm-hmm. And it was, which is like a Vancouver, dynasty of a show. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of almost every, like, that's how you get your, everyone's like, you got to get your Supernatural credit. It's
like the Law and Order of New York.
It's exactly like that.
Yeah.
So, and it was my first thing, and it was a guest star role, and we had a bunch of days because it was kind of like a Clue episode. So we were all locked in a mansion.
Oh.
So I was the ditzy wife. Kind of, it was. I just remember it being so much fun, and I remember being so scared.
Yeah,
so excited.
When you first got the booking from your agent, did you just like freak out? Or were you so excited?
Totally freaked out, and then immediately was full of fear, which happens with every booking I get. I'm always like, oh my gosh, yes, and then it's like, oh shoot, I actually have to do this.
Yeah, they're expecting me to show up. And do a good job. Oh, no.
And I'm convinced that they're like, oh, I think they meant a different Claire. Like they must have messed up somewhere. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And you got started at Hallmark pretty early. You had small roles on Cedar Cove and Murder, She Baked. So that must have been fun.
Yeah. Cedar Cove was super fun because it was with Andy McDowell, who is just... a dream and was the kindest, warmest person. And everyone on that crew was super lovely. I had a lot of fun. We had a couple days and it was, it was also, they were filming in the most beautiful parts of Vancouver, North Vancouver, and the weather was cooperating. So when you have that hit perfectly, you're like, am I working or am I just kind of on a faux vacation?
Yeah, that's good. We always like to happy to hear when our queens of Hallmark are awesome, as we suspect. So that's good. That's good. Yeah. And so then you had the Angel Tree was another one that you did last year. So when did you film that one?
That one I filmed in October. It was end of September, early October. And again, it was out of Vancouver, went to Kelowna. So it was kind of nice. I just kept getting to leave home. So I was like, oh, good. This home I've been trapped in quarantine forever. I can actually like leave and get out of town. Mm-hmm. So that was, end of September.
So was that fun working with Jill and everybody?
It was a lot of fun. I didn't have as much with Jill, just the Christmas party scene. I mean, I guess people have already seen it. The Christmas party scene where I arrive. So it was really nice to meet her. And that was my first day. And then I hung out with Lucas the most and we just totally hit it off. It was really fun.
Yeah, I forget. What was your character in that one?
I was a sister again. There's a theme. Okay. There's a theme here, Rachel.
Come on, Hallmark. Let's move her up from being the sister.
I'm happy. Hey, I'm an older sister and a younger sister in real life, so I have no issues playing the sister. But I was Oscar, the character. The character was Owen. Oscar was the kid. I was his mom, and I was stationed away in South Korea or something.
Yeah.
And I come home, and I was one of the wishes. Yes,
that's right. I forgot about that. That's right. We saw a lot of Christmas movies. So.
Oh my gosh, they just didn't stop. They were like.
I know it's like the one part of Hollywood that was like, we are going forward unabated. We don't care.
Yeah. It was, I think every
it.
friend I had was on some different Christmas movie. Well, like as soon as things were allowed to pick up again in July, it was just Hallmarks all the way.
I still think that was just absolutely incredible what they pulled off.
And they did it. They were really safe too, which was nice.
Yeah. I mean, that they still did 40 movies. I can't.
Did you watch all 40?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. Goodness. Watched and reviewed on the podcast. And not just Hallmark. I did over 100 Christmas movies that we covered on the podcast. Yeah.
Wow.
So all the Lifetime, all the Netflix.
Interesting. Oh, the Lifetime ones too. What is your Christmas pet peeve in movies? Like, what is the trope that you're just sort of overseeing?
I think the party planning movies usually are really boring because it's just like, I mean, every once in a while there's a good one, but for the most part, it's like it's hard for the couple to be super intimate because that would be kind of weird in a work environment and so it's like it's just them planning a party and it's just boring and I don't care about it. Like I can't go to this party, so it's not interesting to me. And that's one of my least favorites. I also I'm not a huge fan of save the whatever stories because there's no stakes at all, and people are always trying to mimic You've Got Mail. And the thing about You've Got Mail is that the store actually closed. There's actually stakes. There's like she has to grow and change as a human, and there's no stakes in these, that is the whether fill in the blank, save the
bakery,
store, save the bakery, save the
cobblers,
theater, save the whatever it might be. And yes, there's always good examples of every single trope. But if you're just asking which one's my least favorite, that one's definitely up there. And I would much prefer a movie on like the fake engagement, fake relationship. That's always a lot of fun. Or I have to say this year, there were a ton of movies of like researching, like finding a ring or a bracelet or a letter or a picture and then like looking into it and read a diary, something like that. And most of those were very boring.
Right, because no one actually likes doing research.
No, it's very dull. But I think they were all trying to be signed, sealed, delivered. And the thing about signed, sealed, delivered is you're so invested in the characters that the whatever they're researching is just kind of, it doesn't really matter that much because you're invested in the characters. So those were almost all a miss for me with that. But I absolutely loved the Christmas Waltz with Lacey and Will and them dancing down the street, and that was just so good for my heart.
Yeah,
so good. I loved that one. There were a lot that I loved. Actually, there weren't that many that I was like, this is terrible, unwatchable.
Right. But when you're watching that many back to back, the ones that you prefer stand out more because everything's a comparison at that point.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I liked On the 12th Date of Christmas. I thought that was really a fun one. And I mean, Tyler he is great.
Yeah, I find that, you mentioned that, I mean, the tropes, we could write a Hallmark together, you and I, right now in the next 10 minutes. Yeah, I think we just should. Let's just, let's turn off the podcast.
I'm ready.
Or keep it on, who knows? We'll already have an audience for our movie. But it's all about how people kind of bring the personality to those different characters. I mean, the amount of scripts I've read for Hallmarks or whatever, and then it's always nice when they end up looking very different on camera because people bring their different sort of sparks and the personality. And then some, we have some directors are very open to improvising, which obviously I love. So you get one in the can that has all the correct words, and then you sort of just see what flows, because as you work with someone more, you kind of learn their personality. And it was really fun seeing Tyler with my daughter in the film, and their relationship.
Yeah.
And she was just
good.
such a gem. She's wonderful, Zoe Fish.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I find that that's the thing that kind of will pop a Hallmark out is how loose and fun the actors have with it.
Yeah, well, we joked on the podcast that that Tyler has such great chemistry with everybody that he works with that the next movie should just be pull somebody off the street and they're in a Tyler Hynes movie. There's gonna be great chemistry.
Yeah, why even a person? Just get like a stop sign. Let's see what he can do with that.
Tyler and a dog. I think that would be a very good movie.
Yeah.
No Disney Turner and Hooch reboot.
Yeah, that'll just
for Hallmark.
Exactly.
We'd like to take a second from this episode of the podcast to celebrate our sponsor of this episode, and that is the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast?
Do you want an inside scoop into what happens on the podcast?
Do you want early access to episodes and loads of cool perks?
Now is the time to become a patron of Hallmarkies podcast.
By becoming a patron, you get to access our patron Facebook group.
You can request episodes or even be a guest on the podcast.
And most importantly, any patron can join our monthly movie watch-alongs with stars like Paul Campbell, Natalie Hall, and more.
It's as low as $2 a month to join in and become a special part of the Hallmarkies family.
Please consider, and we will love you forever.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
So you were in both of the Harry and Meghan movies.
I was.
Now, what was your role? I can't remember. Were you one of the snobs or?
No, I played Meghan's makeup artist on Suits. So they replaced the leads, but they kept the peripheral characters the same between the two. Not sure why, but I mean, it was fun. So I play her makeup artist. I'm the same character in both of them. So I always like to say that in the first one, I'm the one that tells her that she's doesn't need no man. And then she ends up meeting Harry. So it's kind of like, I feel like I foretold that. So really, I think the character is all about the makeup artist.
There you go.
Which was more stressful than almost any other character because all the makeup artists were watching me be a makeup artist.
Right. Yeah, that would be stressful.
Like, oh my God. And I love them. I don't want to do them wrong.
You're like, you're like taking notes. How are you using that brush and sponge and stuff?
Apparently,
like that?
Lipstick doesn't also go on your eyeshadow. Like, who knew? But
yeah. So did you see the big interview with Harry and?
I did.
Yeah. So did you feel more invested because you played a role in their fake life?
Yeah, because I was like, oh, that's my buddy Megan. That's how I felt.
Their fake life.
It's funny because I have so many friends who actually worked with her on MOWs, like on Hallmarks and Lifetimes that she had shot up here. So we all feel invested.
Yeah, it's been quite the story, that's for sure. Yeah, that happened before. I just feel like it just started right before the pandemic and then has been going on. So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. So you were also in the Psych movie. So that must have been fun.
Yeah, that was fun. I play a server in this ice bar that they go to.
Oh yeah.
And that's when I was feeling a little extra confident. I don't know if I had just had 2 coffees that day or maybe put something in my coffee. Yeah. Because it's a Norwegian bar. So I went and I did the audition in a Norwegian accent and everything. And I am not Norwegian. But I booked it, so.
How did you said because the bar is Norwegian, that's why you did that?
Yeah, so all the other characters, like the bad guys in the movie were all Norwegians. So I was like, I can do this. And then I showed up and then the other actors that they had hired were legitimately from, like they had Norwegian descent, they could speak.
Yeah.
And I was
That's
just sort
funny.
of, I'm blonde. I used my blonde.
Yeah. Hey, it could come in handy sometimes, that's for sure.
But again, a lot of fun, super free. Like those leads, those guys were great. And they just were flying off the seat of their pants, improvising and having fun. And
did they make that bar for the movie, or is that something that exists in
They made
Canada?
It half exists. Like the interior was pretty much exactly it. And they just put, big glass. They put glass. All ice in movies is glass. Sorry to ruin that for people. But actually, the most Canadian thing, I remember when we were traveling from our trailers to set, we had to stop because there was a bear on the road. Like, this is just the most Canadian thing. And we were just a little bit outside of Vancouver too. It wasn't that far. So.
And you grew up in Canada, in Vancouver?
I did. I didn't grow up in Vancouver. I'm from a way colder place. I grew up in Edmonton, which is in the province over and way more north. So
yeah,
I love Vancouver because it's so warm and beautiful. I grew up closer to the mountains, so in the Rockies.
Oh my gosh. So when you decided you wanted to get into acting, then you moved over to Vancouver?
Yeah, I was deciding between Toronto's the other place to go. But I mean, Canada is so huge that the thought of going to Toronto was like a way bigger move. It's like you're moving almost to a different country. Like it's just so far away.
Yeah.
And Vancouver, I knew we'd gone a lot as kids growing up. It's a great place out here. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go somewhere that if I drive for 12 hours straight, I'll get back to Edmonton. So if anything goes bad, I just hop in the car and do it in a day. Whereas in Toronto, it's like 3 days drive. So.
Right. Yeah. What do your family think when you're in movies and stuff? Do they freak out when they see you?
I mean, I can guarantee you before this even airs, my mom will have found a copy of this podcast. Like I have no idea when something's coming out. Like she tells me, it's almost like my own mother is my PR or whatever. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mrs. Filipow.
Yeah, right. My parents love it. My dad, I mean, all movies I watched was with like, my dad is such a cinephile. Like I think it's really exciting for him. My siblings all I think they love it. They love to make fun of me. So it's just more opportunities for them to make fun of me.
That sounds like we have similar siblings.
Siblings. And then I just, whatever they throw at me, I use it for my next sister role in a Hallmark. Like
that's the trait of an improv person.
There you go, right?
It's always what's next.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's the key.
Yes, and moving forward.
I'm building, you're always, what can I add? One more.
Exactly.
The improv. So that's very good. When you're in something like Dragged Across Concrete, are they kind of scandalized?
I mean, I don't actually know if my parents have even seen that one. Well, that one was cool because I mean, I got to work with Mel Gibson, which was pretty crazy. And like, that's sort of a big name celebrity. So everyone's sort of, whoa, what's that like? I don't think my mom watched that one. I don't think she'd love it. But who knows?
You gotta shake it up. You can't do all Hallmark all the time.
No, you can't. You gotta stretch all the different sides of you.
Even me, I've got to watch some. I'll try to turn on something like Krampus or something like that every Christmas because it's like, or Gremlins. I'm like, I need something.
Yeah.
Something
like,
not Hallmark.
You're like, I need something that's going to scare me.
Yeah. Well, and on Sci-Fi Channel, they had some horror Christmas movies this year. And so that was fun.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. They had one called, it was, what was it? Welcome to Satan Claus. And she writes a letter to Satan Claus.
Oh my gosh. That
was pretty bad, but it was a nice, at least it was something different.
Yeah, right. Check it out.
Yeah. So you are coming out with Right in Front of Me is coming for Hallmark Channel. And why don't you tell us a little bit about this movie?
Well, I am not a sister in that movie. Switching it up. It's a really fun movie. I think people are going to love it. It's super charming. It's a big cast and a big, happy, friendly cast. So it's with Janelle Parrish, she has no right being as nice as she is. I don't know why. She was just like the warmest, kindest person. We had so much fun. She's incredible. So she plays Carly, who is a wedding stylist who decides she works too much, so she takes a weekend off. and goes to stay at her friend's resort, where she meets Marco Grazzini, who's an incredible human being and actor. I think people are going to love him. And he plays Nick, who's the head chef at this resort, or not the head chef at the resort, sorry. He's the sous chef at the resort, and it's my wedding weekend there. And I know Janelle's character from university, and, you know, she kind of gets roped into not having a weekend off.
So was that fun to get to wear wedding dresses and stuff?
No.
It's terrible.
It's, you know what? It's not my first wedding dress on a show. I've worn a wedding dress before. And so this is my second time in one. And I will only wear one if I'm getting paid to wear one. They are so uncomfortable. This one was pretty big. It took 3 people to get me into it. And then once I'm in it, I have to just stand. I can't go wander, can't go to Crafty and get snacks. And so
when you actually get married, it'll be like traumatic.
Oh, I'll be wearing sweatpants for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun, but it's a lot. It's fun once. I had to get into it the way the shooting schedule was with the locations. I think I got into it like 4 times.
Yeah. Yeah, those dresses are really uncomfortable, especially when they have like lace and stuff.
Yeah, I took it off and it looked like a cat had scratched me.
Oh, shoot. That sucks. Well, I mean, we're excited about this movie for lots of reasons. I mean, Janelle, Marco, that seems like a match made in heaven. They seem like they have really great chemistry, and he is so dreamy.
Oh, he's dreamy in real life too.
Sure,
I've met him. He's from I've met him a bunch of times through different sort of industry things and on different shows, and it's just always fun to run into like familiar faces. And then just the leading man aspect of this, he just nails it.
And directed by Linda Lisa Hayter, who we love.
Oh,
we've had on the podcast.
That was the first time I had met her, and I'm obsessed with her. I told her I was just going to follow her around wherever she goes, whether she likes it or not.
That's probably a good life plan.
Yeah,
you probably lead a pretty good life following.
She has this amazing ability to yell action in a positive, happy way.
Yeah.
And it's just one word, and I don't even know how to really explain it, but anytime she would say action, everyone just kind of was just boosted up a little bit. It was so cool.
Well, yeah, she is very calming when you talk to her. She makes you feel relaxed. Yeah. And I really loved having her on the podcast. And it's always great when you have female directors that are able to make these movies. And then it's written by Julie Sherman Wolfe, who's a huge friend of the podcast. We love her so much. And her scripts are always a little bit funnier than the rest of the scripts of Hallmark writers. And she always brings that sort of wit and a little bit of sarcasm, because she that's kind of her roots, is writing comedy. And so that makes me excited about it.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of it. I don't know when it comes out yet. I'll have to ask my mom. But it's very, there's a bit of a snap to it, which I think is really nice. The other thing is there's a lot of kind of the girls. So Lindsay and Brandy play my bridesmaids, and then we kind of join up with Carly, and then Hilary Jardin and Sydney, and it's like there's a lot of kind of female supporting female in it, which I always really appreciate seeing, because I think the trope of oh no, the other girls from college, they weren't friends with, like, that's so overplayed. And it's like, okay, can we just live in a world where like women are allowed to be friends with women without it being, a thing? Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that sounds like really fun.
Yeah, it was
because we love Brandy as well. It's just a fun cast with some diversity. I think it's going to be a really good one.
I hadn't realized it, but this is the first Hallmark with 2 Asian leads. I know Janelle had posted something about that. Yeah. So I think that's
awesome. Yeah. Right in front of me. I'm not that crazy about the title. It's kind of a weird title. It's kind of a bland title, I feel like. In front of me.
Yeah, I always forget the titles of things as I'm working on them, because they either get turned into acronyms, or I always, when I'm telling my friends, I'm like, oh yeah, the bride one. That's how I And it's the
Yeah.
same, like 12 Dates of Christmas. I still don't know what that movie's actually called. Loved it, loved being in it, but I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, that one wasn't the best title either.
I
It was
mean,
a little, not the
yeah.
best. Hallmark
You
and
should
the
do a whole
titles.
segment where you just retitle all the ones you've watched.
We should, because a lot of times, I mean, I guess at least this must have something to do with the actual story, but sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with the story, the titles.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
why did you name it that? It's not that at all. Like
Yeah,
they had
or-
one called it was going to be called The Christmas Shop, which was about a Save the Store movie. And then they changed it to called Sharing Christmas, which made no sense. And it had nothing to do with anything in the story. There's no sharing going on. And it didn't make any sense. I'm like, why, you had a perfect title. Why did you change it? Like, I'm sure they have their reasons. But
yeah, or they just they throw it in the name generator to come up with it.
so.
Or like, I know a lot of scripts have working titles to begin with, and then as stuff gets changed because of copyright or who knows. But yeah, I'm not actually sure.
Yeah.
The movie right in front of me, the movie is better than its title. I'll give you that.
That's good. That's good to hear. All right. Well, we like to end our interviews with some fun, silly questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, not that the previous questions have not been also silly, but here we go. First question is, what is the best ice cream flavor?
Mint chocolate chip.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite color?
Any shade of green or purple.
Purple's my favorite too. So, yeah, and green, that's very on brand. Very Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good choice. Okay, what music are you into right now?
I'm one of those people that when I find a song I like, I play it every day for a month, just driving everyone crazy. Yeah. But I consistently, I'm really into Icelandic rock. So
whoa, that's
Kaleo,
specific.
yeah, Kaleo and of Monsters and Men.
Oh.
Like two bands that I was listening to this morning.
Cool. Way to go. All right. We used to have the question, what's your go-to date night food? But since we can't go on dates anymore, we can go outside hardly at all. What is your go-to, we say like Postmates or DoorDash order?
Man, that's so good. I'm trying to think back. I've ordered a lot of poke bowls recently because the weather's getting nicer, which is kind of boring, but pizza. I mean, I'll always order pizza.
What's your favorite topping?
Lots of cheese.
Yeah.
Cheese and
keep it simple.
Meat. I always go, whatever the restaurant is, I always go for the restaurant special, regardless of what's on it. Because I feel like if they're going to put their name behind that, it better be good.
When you were hanging out all over Winnipeg, what was your favorite?
I ordered a lot of this Korean fried chicken place. Oh my God, it was so good. And then I had a kitchenette and I didn't really want to cook much. So I just would order this Korean fried chicken and they would send me like 20 pieces. And then everything I cooked would have a bit of Korean fried chicken in it.
Sounds like a good plan.
Scrambled eggs and Korean fried chicken. Yeah, it was good.
So back when we can go on dates, what would be your go-to date night activity to go do together?
Probably go see a show somewhere, like some kind of live theater, whether it's something improv or stand-up but like there's some cool indie theaters in Vancouver that I hope will reopen when they can. But I think that's always fun.
Yeah, me too. That would definitely be my choice. So, all right. Dogs or cats?
I live in a no pet building, so literally any pet. So cat or dog, I don't care. Just any of them. If I see one on the street, I'll try to take it home.
Very good. Okay. Beaches or mountains?
Mountains.
All right.
Yeah, mountains.
So would you rather be in a fancy dress or in sweats? We know you're not a wedding dress.
I mean, if I'm getting paid, sweats all the way. I've only worn leggings since quarantine. I've spent a year in leggings.
I know. But that's why I would say fancy dress now, because it's like, it would mean I'm actually doing something.
That's true. I guess I just equate getting dressed up with work.
Yeah.
So for me, like to not be dressed up it's like, oh, I got a day off.
Right. So what is your favorite holiday to celebrate?
Christmas.
Yeah.
Hands down. I'm such a Christmas nerd.
It's tough to compete with Christmas.
Yeah, because it's like a whole season. Valentine's Day is like one day.
Especially if you're in the Hallmark world.
Yeah.
All right. What is your favorite Hallmark or romantic film?
I mean, I'm gonna say Right in Front of Me, just because I had so much fun doing it.
Nice.
Ooh,
that makes me very excited.
Yeah, I mean, just because it was such a big cast and we'd all been isolated for so long, that like to see other people was really exciting. Yeah. But it's hard because every time I watch one, there's someone I know, so it's like I have no favorite. I think my most favorite is the one that's next. Like always, the next one is the funnest one to watch.
Very good. Great. Well, this has been so much fun to get to talk with you. We had a blast, and we'll definitely have to have you back on sometime.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for talking with us. And do you have social media or anything like that you'd like to share?
I don't.
Yeah,
I'm old school like that. If I had it, I would just be inviting people to my improv shows and they'd be so mad at me. So.
Oh, very good. Well, if you're listening, let us know what you think about all the things we talked about. Let us know in the comment section or on Twitter. And you can follow me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. And make sure you're following the podcast, a Hallmarkies Pod, and a Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave us your ratings and reviews. And if you're watching on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our patron group, which is a lot of fun. We have a very special patron event coming up this month where we are going to have a Q&A with Mary Lou Henner for the patrons. So it's only $2 a month to join, and then you get your money's worth, that's for sure. So check that out. And we also have our merch store, which has tons of fun designs, Hallmark-inspired designs. So check that out. And thanks so much, Claire. This was a lot of fun. And we'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
Thank you, Rachel. This was a blast.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.